The way you speak decides how people see you, not your looks, not your background, not even your talent. Successful people don't speak more, they speak smarter. They choose words with intention. They control tone, timing, and presence. This book is not about fancy vocabulary. It is about clear thinking, calm delivery, and powerful expression, skills that make people listen when you speak. Stay with this journey. And subscribe now, because learning to speak smart is one of the fastest ways to change how the world responds to you. Chapter 1. Why the way you speak shapes your life. The way you speak decides your position in the world, not loudly, not dramatically, but consistently. People form opinions long before they understand your ideas. They read your tone. They sense your confidence. They feel your presence. Words are only one part of communication. The way those words arrive is everything. Successful people understand this early. They don't rush their speech. They don't chase attention. They don't speak to fill silence. They speak with intention. When a successful person talks, people listen without being asked. Not because the person is smarter, but because their communication feels grounded. Grounded communication feels safe. It feels clear. It feels trustworthy. Most people speak to be heard. Smart speakers speak to be understood. There is a difference. Being heard depends on volume. Being understood depends on clarity. Clarity comes from thinking clearly first. Successful communicators never let their mouth move faster than their mind. They pause before speaking. They choose words carefully. They remove unnecessary noise. This creates authority without force. When your words are clean, people assume your thinking is clean too. This is how respect begins. Many people believe communication is about talent. It is not. It is about awareness. Awareness of timing. Awareness of tone. Awareness of emotional space. People fail in communication, not because they lack words, but because they lack control. They speak when emotions are high. They speak without structure. They speak without direction. This creates confusion. Confused speech creates weak impressions. Smart communication simplifies instead of complicates. Successful people are known for making complex things sound simple. This is not accidental. It comes from discipline. They remove extra explanations. They avoid unnecessary emotion. They focus on the core message. Every sentence has a purpose. Nothing is wasted. When you speak like this, people feel your competence. You don't need to prove intelligence. Your communication shows it naturally. Another reason communication shapes your life is because it controls opportunities. Opportunities don't always come to the most skilled. They come to the most trusted. Trust is built through how you speak. If your words feel unstable, people hesitate. If your words feel calm and clear, people open up. Success follows those who make others feel confident in their presence. Smart speakers create confidence around them. They don't dominate conversations. They guide them. They don't interrupt. They influence. They don't argue loudly. They explain calmly. Calm explanation always wins over emotional reaction. Emotional reactions feel weak, even when the point is right. This is why successful people master emotional control in speech. They don't let anger drive their tone. They don't let fear rush their words. They don't let insecurity shape their delivery. Their voice remains steady. Steady voice signals inner control. Inner control signals leadership. Leadership is not position. Leadership is perception. And perception is built through communication. People decide whether to follow you based on how safe your words feel. Safe does not mean soft. Safe means clear. Clear communication removes doubt. Doubt kills momentum. Successful people eliminate doubt with the way they speak. They state ideas directly. They avoid unnecessary drama. They stay emotionally neutral. This neutrality gives power to their message. When you remove emotion from delivery, the idea becomes stronger. Emotion should support communication, not control it. Most people make the mistake of emotional talking. They speak to release feelings, not to deliver meaning. This weakens impact. Smart speakers separate feelings from expression. They feel deeply, but speak deliberately. This balance creates authority. Authority does not need volume. It needs consistency. Consistency builds trust over time. When people know your words are reliable, they listen more closely. Your reputation becomes strong. Your presence grows. Another reason communication shapes your life is because it controls relationships. Relationships survive on understanding. Miscommunication destroys connection faster than conflict. Conflict can be resolved. Misunderstanding creates distance. Successful people reduce misunderstanding by speaking with clarity and patience. They don't assume others understand. They explain without condescension. They don't speak to sound superior. They speak to be effective. Effectiveness is the goal. Smart communication is practical. It is not about sounding impressive. It is about creating results. Results in trust. Results in cooperation. Results in respect. The way you speak also shapes how you see yourself. If you speak poorly, your confidence erodes. If you speak clearly, your self-image improves. Language shapes identity. When you hear yourself speak with control, your mind starts believing in your ability. This inner belief strengthens your presence. Presence changes how others respond to you. Everything connects back to communication. Your career, your social life, your leadership, your confidence. All of it flows through your voice. This is why successful people never ignore communication skills. They train them. They practice speaking slower. They practice pausing. They practice simplifying ideas. They remove filler words. They reduce emotional noise. They build a clean speaking style. Clean speech reflects clean thinking. Clean thinking attracts opportunities. The world rewards clarity. People follow clarity. Confusion repels. When you speak smart, you reduce friction. Everywhere you go, people understand you faster. Decisions become easier. Conversations become smoother. Life becomes lighter. This is not luck. It is skill, and skill can be learned. You do not need to change who you are. You need to refine how you express who you are. This book exists for that reason. Not to turn you into someone else, but to sharpen what already exists inside you, to remove unnecessary habits, to build intentional speech, to create calm authority. Speaking smart is not about sounding intelligent. It is about making others feel intelligent when listening to you. This is the secret successful people understand. They don't overpower conversations. They elevate them. They don't compete for attention. They command it naturally, because their communication feels safe, clear, and purposeful. As you move forward in this book, you will learn how to slow your speech, structure your thoughts, control emotion, and deliver ideas with confidence, step by step, skill by skill. You will begin noticing changes quickly. People will listen longer, interrupt less, and respect more, not because you demanded it, but because your communication earned it. This is where your transformation begins. Not tomorrow, not later. It begins with the next sentence you speak. Chapter 2. Thinking before speaking. Like successful people, smart communication always starts before the mouth opens. It starts in the mind. Successful people do not speak impulsively. They do not let thoughts spill out unfiltered. They pause. They organize. They choose. This pause is invisible, but it changes everything. Most people speak while thinking. Successful people think, then speak. This single habit separates average communicators from powerful ones. Thinking before speaking is not about silence. It is about direction. When you speak without thinking, your words wander. They lose structure. They confuse listeners. Confusion weakens trust. Trust depends on clarity. Clarity comes from structured thinking. Successful people train their mind to arrange thoughts before expressing them. This makes their speech feel clean, intentional, and reliable. People trust speakers who sound like they know where they are going. Even if the idea is simple, direction matters. Thinking before speaking also controls emotion. Emotions are fast. Thought is slow. If emotion wins the race, speech becomes unstable. Anger sharpens tone. Fear speeds delivery. Excitement causes over-explaining. None of these create authority. Successful people feel emotions fully, but they do not hand the microphone to emotion. They let thought lead. Thought calms emotion. Calm emotion creates steady speech. Steady speech creates confidence. This is why successful people sound composed, even in pressure. They are not emotionless. They are disciplined. Discipline is the ability to delay reaction. Every delayed reaction strengthens communication. When you pause mentally, you gain control. Control over words. Control over tone. Control over direction. This control makes people listen. People sense when someone is not rushed. Rushed speech feels insecure. Measured speech feels confident. Thinking before speaking also reduces mistakes. Many social and professional problems are not caused by bad intentions, but by careless words. Words spoken without thought cannot be taken back. Successful people protect themselves by filtering thoughts first. They ask internally, does this add value or create noise? They remove noise. Noise weakens impact. Impact requires precision. Precision comes from thinking. Another reason thinking before speaking matters is because it improves respect. When you speak clearly, people assume you think clearly. When you ramble, people assume confusion. Perception is reality in communication. You may be intelligent, but if your words are scattered, that intelligence stays hidden. Successful people reveal intelligence through simplicity. They do not impress with complexity. They impress with clarity. Clarity is the result of organized thought. Organized thought creates structured speech. Structured speech creates authority. Authority attracts opportunity. Thinking before speaking also improves listening. When your mind is calm, you can hear others properly. Most people listen only to reply. Successful people listen to understand. Understanding shapes response. Response shapes connection. Connection shapes influence. When you think before speaking, you respond instead of reacting. Reaction is emotional. Response is intentional. Intentional speech carries weight. Weight makes words memorable. People remember speakers who sound intentional. Another powerful effect of thinking first is confidence building. Every time you speak clearly, your self-trust increases. Your brain learns, I can express myself well. This belief changes posture, voice, and presence. You become more relaxed. Relaxed speakers sound confident without trying. Trying creates tension. Thinking removes tension. Successful people appear calm because their mind is calm first. Calm mind equals calm speech. Calm speech equals authority. Thinking before speaking also protects relationships. Many conflicts are not real conflicts. They are communication failures. Unfiltered words create misunderstanding. Successful people avoid unnecessary conflict by choosing words carefully. They do not speak to win arguments. They speak to preserve clarity. Clarity prevents escalation. Escalation destroys trust. Thinking allows you to soften delivery without weakening message. Soft delivery with strong content is the smartest combination. Harsh delivery with weak structure creates resistance. Resistance blocks influence. Influence flows through calm clarity. Thinking before speaking also improves timing. Sometimes silence is smarter than words. Successful people know when not to speak. They wait. Waiting creates space. Space increases value. Words spoken after silence carry more weight. Words spoken without pause blend into noise. Thinking creates silence internally, before sound externally. This internal silence makes external words sharper. Another key benefit is credibility. When you speak with clarity, people assume you are prepared. Preparation signals professionalism. Professionalism builds trust. Trust builds reputation. Reputation opens doors. This entire chain starts with thinking. Thinking is invisible, but its effects are visible everywhere. Successful people train themselves to slow down mentally. They do not chase speed. Speed sacrifices accuracy. Accuracy creates respect. Smart speakers choose accuracy. They reduce filler words. They avoid repeating the same point. They stay focused. Focus comes from thought. Thought creates direction. Direction creates confidence. Confidence changes how people respond to you. People stop interrupting. They listen longer. They take you seriously, not because you demanded attention, but because your speech earned it. Thinking before speaking also improves leadership. Leaders are judged by their words. Unclear words create uncertainty. Uncertainty weakens teams. Clear words create alignment. Alignment strengthens teams. Successful leaders think deeply before communicating decisions. They anticipate misunderstanding. They remove ambiguity. They choose words that reduce confusion. This makes people feel secure. Security increases performance. All of this comes from one habit: thinking first. You do not need perfect vocabulary. You need clarity. Clarity does not require fancy words. It requires discipline. Discipline to pause. Discipline to choose. Discipline to simplify. As you practice this habit, your communication will change naturally. You will speak less, but say more. You will sound calmer, even in stress. You will feel more confident, even in unfamiliar situations. Because you are no longer guessing. You are directing. Speaking smart is not about talent. It is about control. Control over thought. Control over emotion. Control over expression. This chapter builds the foundation for everything that follows. Once your thinking becomes clear, your words will follow. And when your words become clear, the world will respond differently to you. Chapter 3. Speaking with calm authority. Authority in communication is not about dominance. It is about calm. People often confuse authority with loudness, confidence with speed, and intelligence with complexity. Successful people understand something deeper. Authority comes from emotional control. When you speak calmly, people lean in. When you speak with tension, people pull away. Calm authority is the ability to remain steady while others rush, react, or panic. This steadiness becomes power. Most people lose authority, not because they are wrong, but because they sound unsure. Uncertainty leaks through tone. Fast speech, rising pitch, unstable rhythm. These signals tell listeners that the speaker is not fully grounded. Successful people train their voice to remain stable, regardless of pressure. Stability creates trust. Trust creates influence. Influence creates authority. Authority is felt, not announced. You don't say you are confident. People feel it, and they feel it through calm delivery. Calm authority begins with breath. Breath controls voice. Shallow breath creates rushed speech. Deep breath creates steady speech. Successful speakers breathe slowly, not visibly, not dramatically. Naturally, this slows the nervous system. A calm nervous system produces a calm voice. A calm voice produces a calm response in others. People mirror energy. If you speak calmly, the room settles. If you speak anxiously, the room becomes restless. Authority belongs to the one who controls the emotional temperature. Calm authority also depends on pace. Speaking too fast signals fear of interruption. Fear weakens authority. Speaking too slow signals hesitation. Hesitation weakens authority. Successful people speak at a measured pace, not rushed, not dragging, balanced. This balance communicates control. Control communicates confidence. Confidence communicates leadership. Leadership starts with how you speak. Calm authority also means not reacting emotionally. When challenged, most people defend. Defense tightens the voice. Tight voice feels aggressive or insecure. Successful people do not defend immediately. They pause, they process, they respond with clarity. This response feels powerful because it is not emotional. Emotion clouds authority. Clarity sharpens it. People respect speakers and who can stay composed under disagreement. Disagreement tests authority. If your voice cracks under pressure, authority collapses. If your voice remains calm, authority strengthens. Calm authority also comes from knowing when not to speak. Silence is not weakness. Silence is restraint. Restraint signals confidence. People who speak unnecessarily dilute their presence. People who choose silence increase their value. Successful people do not rush to fill gaps. They allow space. Space gives weight to words. Words spoken after silence land stronger. Calm authority also requires simplicity. Complex explanation can sound intelligent, but they reduce authority. Why? Because complexity creates confusion. Confusion makes people uncertain. Uncertainty weakens trust. Successful people simplify. They remove extra detail. They focus on the core idea. This makes their message feel solid. Solid messages feel authoritative. Authority is clarity, delivered calmly. Another key element is emotional neutrality. Neutrality does not mean coldness. It means balance. Successful speakers do not let emotion spill into their tone. They keep emotions contained. Contained emotion creates strength. Uncontained emotion creates chaos. When people feel your emotion before your message, the message loses power. Calm authority ensures the message arrives first. Your emotional state supports the message, not competes with it. Voice control is also essential. Authority lives in tone. Tone is accompanied of pressure new constant needs, not volume. Raising volume often signals frustration. Frustration weakens authority. Lower, steady tone signals confidence. Confidence commands attentions without effort. Successful people speak from the chest, not the throat. Chest voice feels grounded. Grounded voice feels stable. Stable voice builds trust. Trust creates authority. Calm authority also shapes perception. People assume calm speakers are experienced. Experience earns respect. Even when you are young or new, calm authority elevates perception. People treat you based on how you sound. Sound shapes status. This is why successful people never sound rushed, never sound defensive, never sound chaotic. They protect their tone. Tone is identity. Tone tells the world who you are. If your tone is unstable, people question your reliability. If your tone is calm, people relax around you. Relaxed people listen better. Listening increases influence. Influence strengthens authority. Calm authority also builds presence. Presence is felt before words are understood. Calm speakers occupy space without forcing it. Their stillness becomes noticeable. Stillness draws attention. Noise repels it. Successful people use stillness as a tool. They pause between sentences. They allow their words to breathe. This breathing room creates impact. Impact is not created by speed. It is created by control. Control separates smart speakers from reactive ones. Another important aspect is self-trust. If you do not trust your own words, others won't. Hesitation betrays doubt. Doubt weakens authority. Successful people trust their preparation. They trust their thinking. This trust shows in delivery. Delivery shapes reception. Reception shapes outcome. Calm authority also influences how conflicts unfold. When you remain calm, others lose momentum. Anger feeds anger. Calm absorbs tension. Tension dissolves when it has no opponent. This gives you control without confrontation. Control without confrontation is the highest form of authority. Successful people do not fight for dominance. They allow dominance to emerge naturally through composure. Composure is strength. Strength is quiet. Quiet strength commands respect. As you practice calm authority, your communication changes. People interrupt you less. They wait for you to finish. They take your words seriously, not because you demanded it, but because your presence earned it. This chapter is about becoming steady, not louder, not sharper, not more aggressive. Steady. When you master calm authority, your voice becomes a tool of influence, your words become anchors, your presence becomes leadership, and the way people respond to you will never be the same again. Chapter 4. Choosing the right words without overthinking. Smart communication is not about using big words. It is about using the right words. Successful people do not sound intelligent because of vocabulary. They sound intelligent because of precision. Every word they choose serves a purpose. Nothing extra, nothing confusing, nothing unnecessary. Most people struggle with communication because they overthink what to say. Overthinking creates hesitation. Hesitation breaks flow. Broken flow weakens confidence. Successful people avoid this trap. They do not search for perfect words. They search for clear ones. Clarity beats perfection every time. Perfect words sound rehearsed. Clear words sound natural. People trust natural speakers. Natural communication feels human. Human communication builds connection. Connection builds influence. Choosing the right words starts with knowing your intention. Why are you speaking? Not emotionally, but practically, to inform, to clarify, to guide, to align. When intention is clear, words fall into place naturally. When intention is unclear, words become messy. Messy words confuse listeners. Confusion kills impact. Successful people always know what they want the listener to understand, not what they want to say, what they want understood. This shift changes everything. Speaking smart means thinking from the listener's side. What will they hear? What will they remember? What will they take away? Smart speakers reverse the process. They start with the outcome, then they choose words that lead directly to that outcome. No detours, no unnecessary explanation, no verbal clutter. Verbal clutter weakens authority. Authority lives in simplicity. Simplicity requires courage. It is easy to hide behind complex words. It is harder to be clear. Clear speech exposes thinking. Successful people are not afraid of this. They trust their thinking, so they keep their words simple. Simple does not mean basic. Simple means focused. Focused words move faster. Fast understanding creates trust. Trust creates respect. Respect creates opportunity. Choosing the right words also means avoiding emotional exaggeration. Words like always, never, impossible, perfect create drama. Drama weakens credibility. Successful people speak in balanced language. They avoid extremes. Balanced words feel mature. Mature communication signals experience. Experience earns respect. Another mistake people make is explaining too much. Over-explaining sounds insecure. It suggests the speaker does not trust the message. Successful people explain just enough. They allow silence to do the rest. Silence gives words space. Space gives words power. When you stop talking at the right moment, your last words stay longer in the listener's mind. That is smart communication. Choosing the right words also means removing filler. Filler words dilute impact. They weaken sentences. They reduce confidence. Successful people sound clean because they remove verbal noise. Clean speech reflects clean thinking. Clean thinking builds authority. Another key is emotional alignment. Words must match tone. A serious message, delivered playfully, creates confusion. A light message, delivered stiffly, creates distance. Successful people align words with energy. Alignment feels natural. Natural communication feels confident. Confidence attracts attention. Attention creates influence. Choosing words wisely also means respecting timing. Some words are right, but spoken too early. Some words are right, but spoken too late. Timing changes meaning. Successful people wait until the moment is ready. Then they speak simply. Simplicity at the right moment creates maximum impact. Another powerful habit is avoiding unnecessary opinions. Not every thought needs to be spoken. Smart speakers filter. They speak when value is added. They remain silent when value is low. This selectiveness increases credibility. People trust those who do not speak carelessly. Careless words damage reputation. Careful words build it. Choosing the right words also protects relationships. Harsh words damage trust. Soft but clear words preserve connection. Successful people correct without humiliating. They clarify without attacking. They disagree without disrespect. This balance comes from word choice. Words can either open doors or close them quietly. Smart speakers open doors. They choose language that invites cooperation, not resistance. They replace blame with clarity. They replace accusation with explanation. This makes people receptive. Receptive listeners are easier to influence. Influence grows from respect. Respect grows from language. Another aspect is consistency. Successful people use consistent language patterns. This creates familiarity. Familiarity builds trust. Trust strengthens presence. Presence changes outcomes. Words also shape identity. If you speak confidently, your mind follows. If you speak clearly, your thinking sharpens. Speech and identity grow together. Choosing the right words is not about memorizing phrases. It is about developing awareness, awareness of impact, awareness of listener, awareness of timing. With awareness, your words improve naturally. You stop forcing communication. You start guiding it. Guided communication feels smooth. Smooth communication, bios push-ups, feels professional. Professional communication opens doors silently. This chapter teaches one core truth. You do not need more words. You need better ones. When you master this, your speech becomes efficient. Efficient speech saves energy. Energy savings improve presence. Presence strengthens authority. And authority changes how people respond to you. As you continue, you will notice your sentences becoming shorter, your points becoming sharper, your delivery becoming calmer. This is progress. Smart communication is not loud improvement. It is quiet refinement. And that refinement is what successful people master. Chapter 5, Mastering Tone and Emotional Control. What you say matters. But how you say it matters even more. Tone is the emotional fingerprint of your voice. It reveals what words try to hide. People may forget the sentence, but they remember the tone. Successful people understand this deeply. They guard their tone as carefully as their words. Because tone decides whether a message feels respectful or aggressive, confident or insecure, calm or chaotic. Most communication problems are not word problems. They are tone problems. The wrong tone can destroy the right message. Tone carries emotion. If emotion is uncontrolled, tone becomes unstable. Unstable tone weakens authority. Authority requires emotional control. Successful people do not suppress emotion. They regulate it. Regulation creates balance. Balance creates calm. Calm creates trust. Trust creates influence. Tone begins with inner state. If your mind is tense, your tone becomes sharp. If your mind is rushed, your tone becomes hurried. If your mind is unsure, your tone becomes shaky. You cannot fake tone for long. Tone leaks truth. This is why successful people work on the inside first. They calm themselves before speaking. They breathe. They slow down. They settle emotionally. Only then do they speak. This preparation is invisible to others. but powerful in effect. People feel it immediately. A calm tone relaxes listeners. Relaxed listeners listen better. Better listening increases influence. Influence strengthens leadership. Tone also signals confidence. A confident tone does not rush. It does not push. It does not fight for attention. It arrives quietly and holds space naturally. People respect this energy. Insecure tone seeks validation. Confident tone offers clarity. Clarity always wins. Another mistake people make is letting emotion hijack tone. Anger sharpens words. Fear tightens voice. Excitement speeds delivery. Sadness lowers energy too much. Successful people feel these emotions, but do not let them control delivery. They separate feeling from expression. Feeling stays inside. Expression stays controlled. This separation creates power. Power is emotional discipline. Tone control is also about volume. Loud does not mean strong. Loud often means reactive. Strong tone is steady, clear, and grounded. Lower volume with clarity commands more respect than raised voice with force. Successful people rarely raise their voice. They do not need to. Their calm tone already has weight. Tone also communicates intention. If your tone feels judgmental, people close up. If your tone feels curious, people open. If your tone feels neutral, people feel safe. Successful communicators choose tone based on outcome, not emotion. They ask internally, what should this moment feel like? Then they adjust tone accordingly. This is emotional intelligence in action. Tone also affects credibility. If your tone is inconsistent, people doubt your reliability. If your tone is stable, people trust your message. Trust does not come from facts alone. It comes from emotional consistency. Consistency builds reputation. Reputation builds success. Tone also influences conflict. Most conflicts escalate because tone escalates first. Words may start neutral, but tone sharpens them. Once tone becomes aggressive, logic disappears. Successful people de-escalate through tone control. They soften delivery without softening message. Soft tone with firm content reduces resistance. Resistance blocks resolution. Resolution requires calm. Tone creates calm. Another powerful aspect is self-awareness. You must hear yourself as others hear you. Successful people are aware of how they sound. They notice tension. They adjust pace. They relax voice. This self-monitoring prevents tone drift. Tone drift happens when emotion slowly takes over. Awareness stops it early. Tone control also improves presence. Presence is felt through vocal stability. Stable tone grounds the room. People subconsciously align with the strongest emotional signal. If your tone is steady, others steady themselves too. This gives you leadership without effort. Tone also shapes authority in professional settings. Clear, calm tone signals competence. Emotional tone signals lack of control. Control earns respect. Respect earns influence. Influence shapes outcomes. Tone also shapes self-image. When you hear yourself speak calmly, your confidence increases. Your nervous system learns that you are safe. Safety improves clarity. Clarity improves performance. Everything connects. Tone is not an accessory. It is a core skill. You can say the right thing and still fail if tone is wrong. You can say simple things and succeed if tone is right. Successful people master this balance. They train themselves to remain calm under pressure. They do not allow moments to control their delivery. They control the moment through tone. This chapter teaches one essential truth. Your tone is your emotional signature. Protect it, refine it, control it, because once you master tone, your words carry weight, your presence grows stronger, and people respond to you with respect instead of resistance. This is how smart speakers separate themselves from the rest. Chapter 6. The power of listening. Like successful people, smart communication is not only about speaking well, it is about listening deeply. Most people listen to respond. Successful people listen to understand. This difference changes everything. Listening is the quiet skill that makes people feel respected, valued, and safe. When someone feels truly heard, they open naturally. Successful people know that influence begins before words are spoken. It begins in silence, silence that listens. Listening is not passive, it is active awareness. It requires presence. Presence means your attention is fully with the person, not divided between thoughts, not distracted by preparation to reply. When you listen fully, your energy shifts. People feel it immediately. They sense that they matter. This feeling creates trust. Trust is the foundation of every successful relationship. Without trust, words lose power. Listening builds trust, faster than speaking ever could. Successful people do not interrupt. They allow thoughts to finish. They allow emotions to surface. They allow silence to exist. Silence is not awkward when listening is strong. Silence becomes space for clarity. Most people rush to fill silence. Successful people use silence to gather understanding. Understanding sharpens response. Response shapes impact. Impact builds authority. Listening also reveals hidden information. People rarely say exactly what they mean at first. They circle ideas. They test safety. They reveal truth gradually. If you interrupt too early, you miss the real message. Successful people wait. They let people arrive at their point naturally. This patience uncovers depth. Depth creates insight. Insight gives advantage. Listening also controls emotion. When you listen fully, you slow the interaction. Slowing reduces tension. Reduced tension improves clarity. Clarity prevents misunderstanding. Misunderstanding destroys connection. Successful people prevent conflict by listening before responding. Many arguments disappeared when people feel heard. Feeling heard is often more important than being agreed with. Smart communicators understand this. They validate emotion without surrendering logic. This balance creates respect. Listening also improves word choice. When you understand the full context, your response becomes precise. Precision makes words land cleanly. Clean words feel intelligent. Intelligence earns credibility. Credibility creates influence. Listening also reveals emotional state. Tone, pace, pauses, and emphasis tell more than words alone. Successful people listen to how something is said, not just what is said. Emotion hides in delivery. Delivery reveals truth. When you hear emotional shifts, you adjust response. This adjustment creates alignment. Alignment builds rapport. Rapport increases cooperation. Listening also signals confidence. Insecure people talk more. Confident people listen more. Why? Because confidence does not fear silence. Silence does not threaten those who trust their presence. Successful people do not compete for attention. They allow attention to come to them. This calm attracts respect. Listening also strengthens leadership. Leaders who listen understand their team. Understanding improves decisions. Good decisions create loyalty. Loyalty builds strong organizations. People follow leaders who listen, not those who dominate conversations. Listening also improves persuasion. Thus, when you understand someone's perspective, you can speak directly to it. Direct relevance feels powerful. People resist generic arguments. They respond to personalized understanding. Listening creates this advantage. Another benefit is emotional regulation. When you listen, you pause your own reaction. This pause prevents emotional mistakes. Mistakes in communication are often emotional, not logical. Listening gives emotion time to settle. Settled emotion produces clear response. Clear response strengthens authority. Listening also improves memory. When you listen fully, you remember better. Remembering details makes people feel valued. Feeling valued deepens connection. Connection builds long-term influence. Successful people remember because they listen attentively. They do not pretend to listen. They actually do. Pretending creates distance. Genuine listening creates closeness. Listening also changes perception. People perceive listeners as intelligent and mature. Even if they speak less, their presence feels strong. Strong presence comes from awareness, not noise. Listening trains awareness. Awareness sharpens communication. Sharp communication creates respect. Respect opens doors. Listening also protects you from unnecessary mistakes. Many people reveal their intentions, concerns, and expectation if you listen long enough. This information guides your response. Guided response prevents missteps. Missteps damage credibility. Successful people protect credibility by listening first. Listening also reduces ego. Ego blocks understanding. Understanding improves influence. When ego quiets, connection grows. Connection strengthens outcomes. Listening is also a form of emotional generosity. You give attention without demanding return. This generosity creates goodwill. Goodwill increases cooperation. Cooperation improves success. Listening also shapes self-control. It trains patience. Patience strengthens character. Strong character supports leadership. Leadership amplifies communication. Everything connects back to listening. Smart speakers are smart listeners. They do not rush to prove intelligence. They let understanding create intelligence. Listening does not make you weak. It makes you strategic. It gives you information, clarity, and emotional advantage. As you practice listening deeply, your communication will transform. People will speak more openly. They will trust faster. They will resist less. Your responses will become sharper. Your presence will feel stronger. Your influence will grow quietly. Not because you spoke more, but because you listened better. This is the secret successful people rarely explain. They do not win conversation by talking. They win by listening. And once you master this skill, your communication becomes effortless. Your relationships deepen, and people begin to seek your words willingly. Chapter 7. Communicating with confidence without arrogance. Confidence in communication is quiet. It does not announce itself. It does not compete. It does not demand attention. It simply exists. Steady, clear, unshaken. Most people misunderstand confidence. They think confidence is being loud. They think confidence is dominating conversations. They think confidence is always having something to say. Successful people know better. True confidence is comfort. Comfort with silence. Comfort with disagreement. Comfort with not being the smartest voice in the room. This comfort is what people feel first, and that feeling creates respect. Confidence without arrogance begins with self-acceptance. When you accept yourself, you stop trying to prove yourself. Trying creates tension. Tension leaks into communication. Successful people remove this tension by trusting their value. They do not need to show superiority. They let clarity speak for them. Arrogance comes from insecurity. It is loud because it is fragile. Confidence is calm because it is stable. People sense this difference immediately. A confident speaker does not rush to speak. They wait. They choose moments carefully. This selectiveness increases impact. Impact grows when words are not wasted. Wasted words reduce authority. Authority grows from restraint. Confidence also shows in posture. Relaxed shoulders, open stance, still movement. These physical signals support verbal confidence. Body and voice must align. Misalignment creates doubt. Alignment creates trust. Successful people align what they say with how they carry themselves. This congruence makes their communication believable. Confidence without arrogance also requires emotional control. Arrogant speakers react quickly. They interrupt. They correct aggressively. They push their point forcefully. Confident speakers respond slowly. They listen fully. They clarify calmly. They state their point once, clearly, and let it stand. Letting words stand is a sign of confidence. Repeating yourself excessively signals insecurity. Successful people trust that their message was heard. They do not chase agreement. They allow understanding to develop naturally. Confidence also shows in how disagreement is handled. Arrogance fights disagreement. Confidence absorbs it. When challenged, a confident speaker stays calm. They do not take it personally. They separate idea from identity. This separation prevents defensiveness. Defensiveness weakens authority. Calm response strengthens it. Successful people do not need to win every conversation. They focus on clarity, not dominance. Dominance creates resistance. Clarity creates openness. Confidence without arrogance also means respecting others' input. Arrogant speakers dismiss opinions quickly. Confident speakers acknowledge them. Acknowledgement does not mean agreement. It means respect. Respect strengthens dialogue. Dialogue builds connection. Connection increases influence. Influence grows naturally when people feel respected. Confidence also reflects in language choice. Confident speakers use simple language. Arrogant speakers use complex language to sound superior. Simplicity signals mastery. Complexity often hides insecurity. Successful people explain ideas as clearly as possible. Clarity makes others feel intelligent. Making others feel intelligent is a powerful form of influence. Confidence also requires patience. Patience allows others to finish thoughts. Patience prevents interruption. Interruption feels aggressive. Aggression weakens trust. Trust strengthens communication. Successful people create space for others to express themselves. This space builds rapport. Rapport softens resistance. Resistance disappears when people feel heard. Confidence without arrogance also means not overselling yourself. You do not need to list achievements. Your competence shows through how you speak, through clarity, through calm, through consistency. Consistency builds reputation. Reputation attracts respect. Respect follows those who do not chase it. Confidence also shows in how you handle praise. Arrogance absorbs praise loudly. Confidence receives it quietly. A simple acknowledgement signals maturity. Maturity earns trust. Trust strengthens relationships. Confidence without arrogance also shapes leadership. Leaders who communicate confidently do not intimidate. They guide. They inspire calm. They create stability. Stability makes people feel safe. Safe environments produce performance. Performance produces success. Confidence also requires self-awareness. You must know how you sound, how you appear, how your words land. Successful people adjust naturally. They read the room. They sense energy shifts. They adapt without forcing. Adaptability is confidence. Rigidity is arrogance. Confidence flows. Arrogance resists. Flow invites connection. Resistance blocks it. Confidence also shapes how silence is used. Confident speakers are comfortable with pauses. Pauses give weight to words. Weight increases impact. Arrogant speakers fear silence. They fill every gap. Filling gaps weakens presence. Presence grows in stillness. Stillness signals control. Control signals confidence. Confidence without arrogance creates admiration. People admire those who are strong without being threatening, calm without being passive, clear without being harsh. This balance is rare, and rare qualities stand out naturally. As you practice this form of confidence, your communication will shift. You will speak less, but mean more. You will listen more, but influence more. People will feel comfortable around you. Comfort invites honesty. Honesty deepens connection. Connection builds loyalty. Loyalty supports success. Confidence without arrogance is sustainable. It does not exhaust you. It does not create enemies. It does not demand constant performance. It allows you to be yourself, fully and calmly. This chapter teaches one essential truth. You do not need to overpower people to be confident. You need to be grounded. Grounded communication creates trust, respect, and influence without conflict. This is how successful people speak smart. Not louder, not sharper, but steadier. Chapter 8. Reading the room and adapting your communication. Smart communication does not exist in isolation. It lives inside people, moods, situations, and moments. The same words can succeed in one room and fail in another. Successful people understand this. They do not speak in one fixed way. They adapt. Adaptation is not pretending. It is awareness. Toward awareness of energy, awareness of emotion, awareness of timing. This awareness is what people call reading the room. Reading the room means sensing what is happening beneath words, the mood, the tension, the openness, the resistance. Every room has an emotional climate. If you ignore it, your message struggles. If you align with it, your message flows. Most people speak as if the room does not matter. They focus on what they want to say, not where they are saying it. Successful people do the opposite. They sense first. They speak second. Sensing creates alignment. Alignment creates acceptance. Acceptance creates influence. Reading the room begins before you open your mouth. It begins the moment you enter. You notice posture. You notice eye contact. You notice movement. You notice silence. Silence speaks loudly. A quiet room may signal focus. It may signal tension. It may signal fatigue. Each requires a different approach. Successful people do not guess. They observe. Observation removes mistakes. Mistakes weaken credibility. Credibility builds success. Another sign of the room is pace. Is the energy fast or slow? Are people relaxed or alert? Are conversations short or deep? Pace tells you how much information the room can handle. Too much information in a low-energy room creates overload. Too little information, or vienfer. One for the blind engaged crate, for to blind sidegif. In a high-energy room creates boredom. Smart communicators match pace. Matching pace creates comfort. Comfort opens attention. Attention increases impact. Reading the room also means understanding emotional readiness. Some rooms are ready for ideas. Some are ready for reassurance. Some are ready for clarity. Some are ready for direction. If you offer the wrong thing, even good communication fails. Successful people adjust what they emphasize. Sometimes they explain. Sometimes they simplify. Sometimes they reassure. Sometimes they remain silent. Silence can be the smartest response in the wrong emotional climate. Adaptation also requires letting go of ego. Ego wants to speak, no matter what. Awareness waits. Waiting is strength. Strength earns respect. Respect increases influence. Reading the room also involves understanding group dynamics. In group, energy multiplies. One person's tension can spread quickly. One person's calm can stabilize many. Successful people identify who influences the room. They watch reactions. They notice who others look at. They notice who sets tone. Then they align communication accordingly. This is not manipulation. It is intelligence. Intelligence respects reality. Ignoring reality creates resistance. Adapting to reality creates cooperation. Reading the room also means noticing resistance early. Resistance appears before words object. Crossed arms, short answers, avoided eye contact. These signals say slow down, push harder, and resistance grows. Adjust gently, and resistance softens. Successful people soften delivery. When resistance appears, they simplify language. They lower intensity. They create safety. Safety restores openness. Openness invites understanding. Understanding leads to acceptance. Acceptance leads to influence. Adaptation also applies to tone. A serious room needs grounded tone. A relaxed room allows warmth. A tense room needs calm. A distracted room needs clarity. One tone cannot fit every moment. Successful people adjust tone without losing identity. Identity stays consistent. Expression adapts. This balance is communication mastery. Reading the room also includes knowing when not to speak. Sometimes your presence is enough. Sometimes words interrupt process. Sometimes people need space more than advice. Advice given too early feels invasive. Silence offered at the right time feels respectful. Respect strengthens trust. Trust strengthens connection. Connection strengthens impact. Adaptation also protects relationships. Many conflicts begin because someone ignored the emotional climate. They said the right thing at the wrong time. Timing is part of intelligence. Successful people delay instead of forcing. Delay protects clarity. Forcing creates friction. Friction damages trust. Reading the room also improves leadership. Leaders who sense mood adjust communication. They motivate when energy is low. They calm when energy is high. They clarify when confusion appears. This responsiveness creates loyalty. People trust leaders who understand the room. Adaptation also shapes persuasion. People accept ideas when they feel understood. Understanding comes from alignment. Alignment comes from awareness. Awareness comes from listening and observing. Speaking without observing is blind communication. Blind communication creates unpredictable outcomes. Successful people remove unpredictability through awareness. Adaptation also increases confidence. When you know how to adjust, you stop fearing situations. Fear comes from uncertainty. Adaptation reduces uncertainty. Reduced uncertainty creates calm. Calm strengthens presence. Presence improves communication. Everything connects. Reading the room is not a talent. It is a habit of noticing before speaking, a habit of sensing before deciding. As you practice this, your communication becomes fluid. You stop forcing words. You start responding to moments. Moments guide language. Language shapes outcome. Outcome builds reputation. Reputation supports success. This chapter teaches one core truth. Smart communication is not fixed. It is flexible. Flexibility does not weaken you. It strengthens you. Because you are no longer fighting the environment. You are working with it. And when you align with the room aligns with you. Chapter 9. Handling difficult conversations with intelligence. Difficult conversations are unavoidable. Avoiding them does not remove them. It only delays their impact. Successful people understand this early. They do not fear difficult conversations. They prepare for them. Preparation changes everything. Most people enter difficult conversations emotionally. They react. They defend. They escalate. This creates damage. Damage to trust. Damage to relationships. Damage to reputation. Smart communicators approach difficulty differently. They slow down. They stabilize themselves first, because emotional stability is the foundation of intelligent communication. If you enter a difficult conversation emotionally charged, you lose control immediately. Control determines outcome. Outcome shapes perception. Perception defines respect. Successful people protect control. By managing emotion before words, they do not speak to release feelings. They speak to resolve situations. Resolution requires clarity. Clarity cannot exist in chaos. Chaos comes from unfiltered emotion, so they filter first. Filtering does not mean suppression. It means choosing expression carefully. Difficult conversations test emotional maturity. Immature communication attacks people. Mature communication addresses behavior. This distinction changes everything. When you attack people, defensiveness rises. When you address behavior, openness remains possible. Successful people separate person from issue. They focus on what needs to change, not who is wrong. This reduces resistance instantly. Resistance blocks progress. Progress requires cooperation. Cooperation grows from respect. Respect is preserved when communication remains calm. Tone becomes critical during difficult conversations. Even correct words can fail. If tone is sharp, sharp tone signals threat. Threat triggers defense. Defense blocks listening. Listening is required for resolution. Successful people soften tone without weakening message. Soft tone carries firm content more effectively than aggressive delivery. Calm strength always wins over emotional force. Another mistake people make is trying to win the conversation. Winning creates losers. Losers carry resentment. Resentment damages future interactions. Successful people aim for clarity, not victory. Clarity resolves issues without creating enemies. Enemies drain energy. Energy should be invested in growth, not conflict. Difficult conversations also require timing. Right words spoken too early can fail. Right words spoken too late can explode. Successful people choose timing carefully. They wait until emotions settle. They choose moment when attention is available. They avoid public confrontation. Privacy preserves dignity. Dignity preserves trust. Trust allows honest dialogue. Honest dialogue creates resolution. Difficult conversations also expose listening skill. Most people interrupt when uncomfortable. Interruption escalates tension. Successful people listen longer during difficulty. They allow frustration to be expressed. They do not rush to correct. Correction too early feels dismissive. Dismissiveness closes people off. Listening keeps doors open. When people feel heard, they soften naturally. Softening creates space for change. Change is the goal, not punishment, not dominance. Change. Successful communicators ask themselves internally, what outcome serves everyone best? They keep this outcome in mind while speaking. This focus prevents emotional drift. Emotional drift leads to arguments. Arguments rarely solve anything. Resolution does. Difficult conversations also require clear structure. Rambling increases confusion. Confusion increases frustration. Successful people stay focused. They state the issue clearly. They explain impact calmly. They suggest direction without force. Clarity reduces misunderstanding. Misunderstanding fuels conflict. Another critical skill is emotional neutrality. Neutrality does not mean coldness. It means balance. Balance allows fairness. Fairness builds credibility. Credibility increases cooperation. When you remain neutral, people trust your intention. Trust lowers defenses. Lower defenses allow solutions. Difficult conversations also test patience. People may react emotionally. They may deny responsibility. They may push back. Successful people do not mirror emotion. They stay steady. Steadiness absorbs volatility. Volatility fades when it meets calm. Calm is contagious. Successful people understand this. They lead emotionally, even in conflict. Leadership is most visible during difficulty. Anyone can communicate well when things are easy. Few can do it when emotions are high. Those who can earn deep respect. Difficult conversations also shape reputation. People remember how you handled discomfort. They remember whether you were fair. They remember whether you were calm. They remember whether you respected dignity. These memories define trust. Trust defines long-term success. Another key element is responsibility. Successful people own their part when appropriate. Ownership diffuses tension. Blame escalates it. Ownership signals maturity. Maturity builds respect. Respect builds influence. Influence helps future communication. Difficult conversations also require boundaries. You cannot allow disrespect. Calmly stating boundary maintains self-respect without aggression. Self-respect commands respect from others. Allowing disrespect invites repetition. Successful people protect boundary through calm firmness. Firm does not mean loud. Firm means clear. Clarity removes ambiguity. Ambiguity fuels conflict. Difficult conversations are also moments of emotional truth. How you show up reveals who you are. Are you reactive or reflective? Are you defensive or open? Are you aggressive or grounded? Successful people choose groundedness. Grounded communication keeps situations manageable. Manageable situation creates solutions. Solutions create progress. Progress builds confidence. Confidence improves future communication. Everything is connected. Handling difficult conversations well is one of the strongest indicators of emotional intelligence. It shows control. It shows awareness. It shows leadership. People trust those who can handle discomfort without creating damage. As you practice this skill, difficult conversations lose their fear. They become structured moments for clarity and growth. You stop avoiding them. You stop dreading them. You handle them with calm authority. And because of that, people respond differently to you. They respect your words. They trust your intention. They feel safe speaking honestly. This safety transforms relationships. And when relationships are strong, communication becomes easier everywhere else. This chapter teaches one essential truth. Difficult conversation do not destroy success. Poor handling does. When handled with intelligence, they strengthen trust, clarify expectations, and elevate your presence. That is how successful people speak smart, even when conversations are hard. Chapter 10. Becoming a smart communicator for life. Smart communication is not a phase. It is not a trick you use when needed. It is a way of being. By now you understand that communication is not about talking more. It is about speaking with purpose. It is about listening with presence. It is about responding with calm intelligence. Successful people do not turn communication on and off. They live it. Every interaction becomes a reflection of who they are. They are consistent. Consistency creates trust. Trust creates influence. Influence shapes outcomes. This final chapter is not about learning something new. It is about integration. Taking everything you have learned and turning it into instinct. Instinct is what separates effort from mastery. At first you think before speaking. Then you pause intentionally. Then you choose words carefully. Over time this becomes natural. Your communication stops feeling forced. It starts feeling aligned. Alignment is the goal. Alignment between thought, emotion, and expression. When these three match, your presence becomes powerful. You no longer second-guess yourself. You no longer replay conversations in your head. You no longer worry about sounding wrong, because your communication comes from clarity. Clarity removes doubt. Doubt is what weakens confidence. Confidence grows when you trust your process. Smart communicators trust themselves because they are disciplined. They have learned to slow down. They have learned to listen. They have learned to control tone. They have learned to choose timing. These skills stack together. One supports the other. This creates a strong foundation, a foundation that does not shake when pressure arrives. Pressure always arrives. Success brings pressure. Leadership brings pressure. Responsibility brings pressure. Smart communication holds steady under pressure. That steadiness becomes your signature. People begin to recognize you, not for how much you talk, but for how you handle moments. Moments of tension, moments of silence, moments of disagreement, moments of decision. How you speak in these moments defines your reputation. Reputation is built quietly, one interaction at a time, one calm response at a time, one respectful correction at a time, one clear explanation at a time. Smart communicators understand that words shape environments, they shape meetings, they shape relationships, they shape careers, they shape self-image. Your inner voice also changes. When your outer voice becomes controlled, you begin to respect yourself more. Self-respect strengthens boundaries. Boundaries protect energy. Protected energy improves focus. Focus improves communication. Everything connects. At this stage, communication is no longer something you do. It is something you are. You speak less reactively. You listen more deeply. You respond with intention. People feel safer around you. Safety opens honesty. Honesty deepens connection. Connection builds trust. Trust unlocks opportunity. This is how communication changes lives, not overnight, but permanently. Successful people are not perfect communicators. They are consistent ones. They do not chase flawless conversations. They aim for clear ones. Clear communication forgives small mistakes. Confusing communication amplifies them. You now understand how to avoid confusion. You slow down. You simplify. You stay calm. You listen first. These habits protect you. They protect your reputation. They protect your relationships. They protect your confidence. Confidence earned through discipline is unshakable. It does not depend on praise. It does not collapse with criticism. It remains steady. That steadiness is rare. Rare qualities stand out, not loudly, but unmistakably. People begin to seek your opinion. They listen when you speak. They trust your judgment, not because you demanded it, because your communication earned it. This is the quiet power of speaking smart. It does not dominate rooms. It stabilizes them. It does not overpower people. It aligns them. It does not create noise. It creates clarity. Clarity is leadership. Leadership is influence. Influence shapes success. As you move forward, remember this simple truth. Every time you speak, you are training people how to see you. Train them well. Speak with intention. Listen with presence. Respond with calm authority. Protect your tone. Respect timing. Value silence. Choose clarity over ego. These choices compound. Over time, they transform not only how you speak, but how you live. You stop chasing validation. You stop fearing conversations. You stop shrinking or over-explaining. You stand grounded. You speak cleanly. You listen fully. This is the language of successful people. Not fancy, not loud, but intelligent, intentional, and deeply effective. You now carry the skill that shapes every area of life. Use it daily. Refine it patiently. Let it become instinct. Because once communication becomes effortless, everything else begins to align. This is not the end of your growth. It is the beginning of a smarter way to speak, think, and connect. And from this point forward, every word you choose has the power to move your life forward.